And this is Travis Holmes with BigCatCountry.com.
And you're listening to this thing on the Believe Podcast Network. Guys, listen, thank you once again. This past, I think it was Friday, all you Duval divers and commenters made that an electric show. And let's be honest, it had been a while since I'd done a one-off. I was pretty worried for a minute there that Travis D. Holmes might have a reaction to my show that would sound a little something like this.
Effing MFer I've ever seen. You don't know S. How in the world can you even have a job? How can you even have a family? You're a moron. You're an idiot. You're a effing dumb effer. How could you even have that opinion? Go die.
So long as Travis didn't have that response to my one-off, I felt like I was in a good place.
Brother, Frangies, that clip is gonna get so much, brother. That is gonna.
How good is that?
That's gonna get so much run in all the AFC group chats and everything, man. But yeah, but
I just wanted to make it part of the Dives mystique, man. That's such a great. I'm not even on Twitter like you are, Travis D. Holmes. But I laughed so hard when I came across that, and I'm like, this has to be how I welcome my personal champion.
Nah, man, I had to take some downtime. I went to see the brother and the family in DC. Went to New York and saw our guy Charlie and his family.
Hey.
And got to see Times Square and everything else. Like, no, it was a good week. So I'm happy to be back. Believe it. But to talk some Jaguars and everything. Actually, ran into like 4 different Jaguar fans in New York. One from Connecticut. Okay. It was a good time, bro. It was a very interesting trip for sure. And I'm definitely gonna go back to New York sometime soon.
Well, and hey, listen, while you were away, some more cool stuff happened. Last week, we had announced our first members here of the Duval Dive YouTube channel. And guess what? They don't die, they multiply. We got some more in here. So some shouts here, for more members in the chamber there. Social Alki, Sunstain, and Anik Reyes. I just call him Reyes in the comments. And guys, thanks so much for you being added as well. Of course, shouts to Preston, PT Phone Home, Brian Foster, and of course Zenith, the inaugural members. Yes. They're in as well. Humbled, joyed, and just what was it? Honor, joy, and privilege isn't just a line anymore. It's now a repetitive thing where I pay tribute to you members in such a fashion.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a fantastic time all the way around. But here's what it is. And a lot of this is going to be me asking you questions too, Travis, just because not only because you've been out of town and doing the thing, but there's been a lot of other movement, right? Like, Florida Made Me here in the comments is saying, watching film on Anthony Hill makes me feel better. He's drafted at 56. If he's drafted at 56, even though I would like a defensive tackle. That's an interesting take. And Preston mentions, good to see the members. Oh, man, thank you for saying that we deserve it, Preston. That's, man, you be all humbling. He even laughed at Frankie when I did that.
Well, no, I mean, hey, so Hill is awesome. Like, he's a great option for replacement for Devin Lloyd. Like, he's athletic. He's great at, like, I guess we'll say, like faking one way and kind of just flowing back into the zone, kind of just having a good feel for his zone drops and things of that nature. So I'd be on board with that for sure. But I ain't gonna lie to you. If the defensive tackle is there and the linebacker's there in this class, I love how deep this linebacker class is. I'm going DT every day of the week because if you have a good above average 3 technique defensive tackle for this Jacksonville Jaguars roster, I feel okay with Ventrell Miller. I feel okay with the linebacker core, or I feel okay with us getting a linebacker a little bit later because this class is just that dang deep. Yeah, man, and they got enough picks. That's where I'm at. But again, I like the prospect, but a good defensive tackle can make the linebacker look great by just keeping that guy clean, and that's where I'm landing.
That's that last sentence you just uttered there is why I'm going to say I think Hill may be a good idea as a fit. I'm with you on that. I don't watch film and follow. I'm certainly not a draftnik like you are, which as we proceed in the draft, look out for more guests, folks. That's a thing that's going to happen. But from my perspective, that's the egg, not the chicken. Okay. The defensive tackle is the chicken to the egg of success. That is, in fact, that linebacker that can move around like that. And the way you keep their jersey clean is with a defensive tackle. And I couldn't agree with you more there. I think it's more essential. But hey, listen, best available is a thing. And that's kind of where I wanted to take this. Like, everybody's making the assumption that free agency is over and all this. And let's be honest, for all intents and purposes, it probably is. But Travis, there's a world out there where they still might get a defensive tackle, and then we'll both might be pounding the table for Hill, right? And we may have alluded to this before. I'm going to take the liberty to pull in this particular piece, the fire sale that could be occurring in Miami. The Dolphins will have over $165 million in dead money now, especially with Jalen Waddle moving. I don't know what his contract situation is, but that's certainly going to be an impact of some sort. 165 mil of a 301.2 million cap will be devoted to players no longer on the team. It does include Waddle here, right? Tua Tagovailoa, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. The funny part here, Duval Dive, Jalen Ramsey is on that list, as well as Mika Fitzpatrick, several others. I wouldn't be surprised if former AFC South rival Laramie Tunsil's even on that list at this point. So with that fire selling in mind, and granted, despite the fact they got Malik Willis at quarterback there in Miami, I think that leads to this very nicely. We've cited this before. Zach Seiler is one of the 2 NFL defensive tackles with 10-plus tackles for loss in each of the last 3 seasons. His 25.5 sacks since 2023 leads all defensive tackles, according to friend of the show on Twitter, Daniel Griffiths. Shouts to DG. So,
man, see, Zach is one of the ones I said it on the socials when the Waddle trade happened. I'm like, dude, I was shocked that the Zach Seiler trade hadn't happened like last year. Like, I thought, well, let me rephrase. I originally heard the Jaguars were interested in him last season at the trade deadline, and that Miami wasn't interested in letting him go at all. There were multiple teams apparently that were interested in him at the trade deadline last year. And again, for whatever reason, Miami was just not letting that happen. And again, he's turning 31 this upcoming season as a defensive tackle. That makes sense why teams would be calling on him. So then with the Miami situation where the cap looking where it's looking, with the Jaguars looking for defensive tackle help, obviously, and apparently edge help also, it felt like a marriage of two opportunities happening at the same time, where the Jaguars, I felt, should have been interested in. I felt like this should have already happened. So I'm honestly kind of taken aback that it hasn't yet, just based on everything else that's happening in Miami and everything that we see happening in Jacksonville. I'm a little thrown off on that.
And I'm not mad. I think that's a fine take. I would also remind you that Jimmy Stones is known for poise. So he might be waiting for the right deal.
That he could be waiting until the draft to find out what they do at defensive tackle. It's not like it's going to hurt you if you didn't make the move now, and then the cost is probably going to be the same cost. It's just going to be the cost either actively doing the draft or after the draft for the 2027 draft picks, using those as your ammunition, since they absolutely have loaded up. I mean, we talked about that. The Jaguars, as it currently stands, Nick Corte, which is a guy from Over the Cap. I mean, the Jaguars are tied for 3rd in the league right now in the amount of draft picks they have in that 2027 draft right now with 10. Only Seattle and Philadelphia having 12 right now.
Remember, though, we got to go back to the short I did, right? The whole reason they have those picks is if you can't love the F them pick strategy without some picks out there that need to be F'd, which, again, like listen, that point I'm making is in tribute to Big Game James and his MF for Ball take. That's my variation on the thing, right? It's the corollary to MF for Ball. You need picks to be F'd. There you go. Let me go to the comments real quick, because I know I got this dude's name wrong before. I called him Zippy in passing. That should read Zip Your Lip. Watching T-Wig, Mia, and Marcus earlier, going back to Travis's take a while back. Of course, he's referring to friends of, well, at least T-Wig's a friend of the show. So is Marcus. We need to get Mia in here.
Actually, B is the only one who hasn't been on the show yet. Yeah,
Greg's been on that out. We'll get to it. But anyways, shouts to Locked On. Watching, which actually, technically speaking, I'm a member of Locked On as well. Locked On UCF. Shouts to Mike Giddens. Watching T-Wig, Mia, and Marcus earlier, going back to Travis' take a while back, I wouldn't mind taking another O lineman at 56. I mean, am I going to say no? But the reason here is good. I think it may not be a problem, but with C-Rod, of course, new acquisition, Chris Rodriguez, want it to be dominant. He's talking like you, Travis.
I mean, I don't blame anybody for talking like a mad scientist. That I know it wasn't the thing that was in vogue for talking interior offensive line and talking offensive tackle and play and kicking them inside for year one or whatever. I know folks don't like to hear that. I don't care. I ain't here to tell you what you want to hear. I'm telling you, I'm here to tell you what I think, and that's what I think the Jaguars are aiming for. I just think that that's their North Star. They want to get bigger. They want to get more physical. They want to be more downhill. Say what you want to say. The speed element of the Jacksonville Jaguars in the 2025 season was Travis Etienne. Cool. Who was the physical element? I guess you can say Bayshaw Tootin, right? Now you're telling not is that, but out of that group, that's the physical element. Now looking at the 2026 Jacksonville Jaguars, who's your physical element? I don't think it's a question. This ain't even a difficult question. It's C-Rod.
Right? And understanding, like I make the comment about LaQuint Allen. Clearly, he's a fullback. We're not implying LaQuint Allen isn't physical. We don't need those comments, okay? But C-Rod is definitely far more physical, and I will continue to pound the table that he is going to be the actual Tank Bigsby.
So now you don't have to have your variation of your thunder and lightning. You can legitimately have a real version of it. And that's not a shade to Travis Etienne. It's just to say this is not what they were aiming for. They wanted some true power back situations going on. And now they actually have that. And it's more so it's the style of guy that Jimmy Gladstone, that Jimmy Stones, that Liam Cohen actually seem to prefer. And what I mean by that is we talked about the fact that, Travis Etienne wasn't great at success rate. He was really boom or bust. It was either going to be an explosive run, which he was 12th in the league as far as rushes over 10 plus yards. We talked about that in the episode before it was official that he ended up being signed with the Saints.
Before he became Etienne. That's right.
Yeah, before he changed his name and went back to the motherland and all that. Yeah, all that. But no, but then about it after Rodriguez was signed because they obviously love Jimmy Stones, Liam Cohen. They love backs who are successful on the majority of downs. They don't have to necessarily be explosive. That is a benefit and that is a bonus, but it's all about not losing yards, being efficient, gaining 4+ yards on first down, gaining half of the distance that's needed on second down, and picking up the first down on third down situation. Being efficient, a lot like that Kansas City Chiefs 2023 and 2024 roster. That's what they were. They weren't necessarily explosive. It was all about staying ahead of the sticks. So Kyron Williams, Blake Corum, Chris Rodriguez, and Bayshaw Tootin, out of the top 5 best running backs with the best success rates in 2025, 4 of the top 5 are either Jimmy Stone's draft picks or Jimmy Stone free agent acquisitions. They obviously love something about success rate, which just, again, tells you how successful these guys are being based on the down and distance that's ahead of them. That's Chris Rodriguez.
I knew you were going to use this graphic at some point, and you don't need my approval, my good friend.
No, it's just what Travis Etienne was not good at. It's just one of those things, and folks want to say it's offensive line, and yes, but Bayshaw Tootin had that same offensive line. It's just one of those things where he was good at explosive runs, but he wasn't good at picking up the yards that were schemed, if that makes sense.
Etienne was, and there may be a lot of other I'm not meaning to correct you. I'm in the habit because I have a whole nother show to have, made jokes about it already. You're good.
I got you.
No. And there was, I'm trying to find the comment now, but here it is. Another thing I want to get your take on here, and I've seen this come up a lot more and more. They honestly, according to Preston, Duval Dive member, Preston PT Phone Home, they honestly might have too many picks trying to roster 11 rookies. Like to see some packaging get down to 8 or 9, kind of expecting more of a move to the top of the second. I don't think anybody will disagree or expects anything beyond that. And this is an interesting one here. Florida maybe that looks like Tapa's thumbnail, by the way. I don't know if it's the same guy or the same thumbnail, but I just had to call that out. I feel Sealer.
I'm sure that is.
Yeah, I feel Sealer will be an in-season trade like Jacoby Myers. The plot thickens. Fascinating.
It could make sense. I'm not against if it's whether it's in season or whether it's a trade that just happens again after the draft. That's labeled as a post June 1st, transaction. I can see all of those things take place. But at the end of the day, yeah, the Dolphins, they got so much in dead cap. And again, you're talking about a guy who's going to be 31 in the season, and he's good. So I understand why they would want to hold on to him. But also you have this rebuild that's going to take place. Obviously, that wouldn't seem to fit with his age. That wouldn't seem to fit with the remainder of his contract. It just doesn't make sense. But maybe they're not getting offered what they want to be offered just yet. Or maybe teams are just waiting to see what happens in this draft that's to come. But yeah, the guy had 25.5 sacks and 50 quarterbacks hits over the last 3 seasons from an interior defensive tackle. That's what you want. But that's also probably why Miami's not letting it go for just anything. And I understand that too.
They're trying to maximize the value they can. I agree with that as well. Reyes in the comments, some of those stats Travis showed us, the O-line can definitely improve. They have a good floor, but they can get better. That's a solid take, Reyes. I have no disagreement with that whatsoever.
They got to get some people movers. They got to get people movers. But that's the thing about the fan base also. And I'm not just putting that on the fan base. I'm happy to see the media also starting to have that conversation nowadays. But it's taken some time to get there. We've been having this conversation literally since the week after the Buffalo Bills loss, because this has been something we've been on from day zero. Well, I say that. Let me rephrase this. We've been talking about this since the offseason when they signed Fred Johnson, because
day -1, baby. Day -1.
I want to pat us on the back on this one. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to pat us on the back and break my shoulder, but it is what it is. This is happening because we talked about this as a theory. Looking at the Rams offensive line, looking at the Vikings offensive line, looking at the Bucs offensive line, and looking at the guys who the Jaguars had signed, that this is who we believe that they wanted to be. And as the season went on and they continued struggling to run block, we're just like, it's all zone blocking. They don't seem to be able to just move guys and get the yardage when they need to get it. When you gotta have it. I think this is what they're aiming for. And then the Fred Johnson trade, obviously, acquisition doesn't work out. They end up trading him away. Chuma Edoga really doesn't work out, even though he's actually pretty solid in the run game. He's just not good enough in the pass protection part of it.
Getting damn false starts lining up across from tight end. I said what I said. It bothers me.
Reasonably solid. Like, it's just one of those situations where it's just like, all right, cool. I see the end goal. And then I think that's been confirmed for me. Is like, I just believe that they are going to add an interior offensive lineman or two this season, and whether that ends up being an offensive tackle who can slide inside for a season and then eventually play outside or whatever that looks like. But they want to get bigger. And that's what I'm really landing on. They want 220 to 230 so they can do a lot more man gap and just start actually being people movers and moving guys so they can revamp that offensive line. So shout out to everybody else who's getting on board. But we've been here.
Mm-hmm. And welcome to the party, pal. I know it's not holiday time, but there you go. Let's see. Florida made me drop. Players drop out of the first round every year, and some teams reach in the first round. If the right player falls, I can see Jimmy Stone's making a trade up to move. Yes.
So this is a weird one. Can I? Because I've been hearing this thought process, we'll say, a lot as of late. That the Jaguars, they obviously have 21 picks over the next 2 drafts, 10 in next year if you want to count comp picks, 11 this season. 3 of those are in the 7
picks.
Yeah, well, 7 of those picks in 2025 and this year 2026, sorry, are in the 7th round. That barely counts anyways. Let's be real. Like, nobody really cares as much about a 7th round pick. That's not to say those guys can't be great. LaQuint Allen, shout out. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, so I'm not going to say that, but I am going to say that I'm not against Jimmy Stones, whether that results in him using those as a small ammunition to trade up. But I think the thing that more people probably aren't looking at is if they get to a point in the draft where maybe Preston is correct and they don't see the guys in those roles being able to realistically make the roster, and they just like, all right, cool, we're going to try to trade these for some more picks in the 2027 draft, because there are a lot of teams out here who would love to have some cheap talent Cleveland Browns, or a lot of teams that like are in true salary cap hell, New Orleans Saints, and they need that cheap talent, and they will be willing to give you a pick in next year's draft just so they can get more cheap guys in there right now to help their cap situation.
Dolphins, perhaps.
Yeah. So from that perspective, I'm like, if you want to just load up even more for next season and just maneuver and use those extra picks to maneuver throughout the season, I'm all on board with that. That's cool.
He might even start hearing numbers get pulled for 28 at this point once we're in the draft. Shoot, like, can you rule it out?
You're not wrong. So overall, whether or not you might be right in to say that 11 picks is just too many, but you also could be wrong and over evaluating the strength of this Jacksonville Jaguars team. And what I mean to say by that is, I think folks see 13 wins, and that means that this is a 13-win team every single year, no matter what. And I'm not going to be willing to say that based on one season. I'm not willing to say that based on as great as a season as the 2025 season was for the Jaguars. I'm not willing to say that is what this is going to be, because I think all of us can be honest with ourselves and say that was a surprise for all of us, even those of us who were truly cemented in their corner. I'm one of those guys who said Jimmy Stone should be the hire when we were doing the profiles on Big Cat Country.
You were absolutely all in. Yes.
I said Liam Cohen should be the hire when we did the profiles also on BigCatCountry.com. And I said he was my top two coaches. It was between him and Ben Johnson, and I had Liam Cohen second for the coach, and I had Jimmy Stone's first for the GMs. This is where I was always with these who are going to be successful coaches. I'm saying all that to still say, hey man, they were ridiculously good in one-score games, and normally that's a sign of a great coach. But also, often that can flip the next season. It did for the Jaguars from 2024 to 2025. It can equally do it from 2025 to 2026 for the Jaguars, and you're not looking at a 13-win season. You're looking at maybe a 12-win or a 10-win season.
Well, I was going to say, we don't have the schedule released yet, and that could alter either of our thinking, because what time things are and all of that does matter. We know the elements of the schedule. You could go look those up right now if you had to get them. But I do think the order that you battle them matter. Like if you play the Rams or the Seahawks earlier in the year, I actually think you have a better shot than later in the year, perhaps. So that
but I land on all of that to wrap that piece of it up with, hey man, if they miss the playoffs, you might be feeling very positive in Duval right now, but you're probably not saying things along the lines like if they miss the playoffs with like a 10-win team, like the Indianapolis Colts don't have the injury situation.
I'm glad you corrected that.
I want to make sure I clarify that. Then in Duval, you're probably feeling great about where this team is, but you're also probably not saying wild things in these streets like, oh, we have 11 draft picks. Those guys aren't making this roster. We should just trade up and trade back and everything. As you're probably saying, nah, load up the pantry and we'll figure out, let these guys compete and we'll figure out where the chips kind of lie. That's where I'm at, because I'm thinking in 2026, you might not want to guys like you might not want to have guys on your roster like, and there's no offense to these guys, I think they're great players, but like an Eric Murray at safety. Like you may not want a Foyer starting at your linebacker.
I knew you
may not want you may not want a Jordan Lewis in your secondary. And this is, again, these are all great players. In my opinion, at least, I mean, from my tape watching, I think these guys are good. You may not want a Josh Hines Allen plan, but they're only not going to be on the roster if you either trade them for someone else or you're drafting other guys. And some of those guys are going to be guys who you didn't even think about, like a Parker Washington, just showing up out of nowhere. Development. But that's because you don't assume. Yeah. Right. You don't assume that these rookies can't make the roster just because you think so. Let them battle it out.
I feel like that's what happened this past year. You said it great. Just what I was about to say. I feel like a 10 or 11 win season, again, without having seen the schedule. If you told me now 10 or 11 win season in 26, that's a success.
Absolutely. If they can do it again, that just shows they're doing it again. And this is a consistent juggernaut. This is a monster that they're building, and it's a machine. And that confirms and eases all the doubts in this PTSD-ridden Duval devout fan base, because y'all been hurt, and y'all told us in these comments very clearly throughout this whole season, y'all been hurt for the previous regimes of 2022, and then the crash in 2023, and all of these things in 2017 to 2018. I get it. So they don't believe necessarily just yet. We had the whole podcast that the Duval Dive don't necessarily believe just yet that this is real until they see it on the field for 10 plus games in 2026.
Well, and now you're touching on my day -1 stance. Okay. And by the way, your piece about this team wants to be a bunch of maulers like that was a powerful bit of research. I'm taking nothing from it. However, my response as a non-card carrying member of the Duval Dive was whatever happens with this front office, good, bad, or otherwise, the exercising of the demons is what's important. What was my phrase, Travis? The healing can begin once Trent Baalke got fired. That's all I'll say about that. There is some bangers in the comments. We went a little time to get through this, Travis.
Let's get into them.
Let's see. And I wanted to start with this because this is me throwing love to the divers here, right? My dude, Social Alki, Duval Dive member, Social Alki comes in off the top rope. We speak on defensive tackle a lot, but it seems the good defensive tackles are more nose, 0-1 technique. Besides Holton, who's a good 3 technique? Now, before you answer that question, Travis, Tapa, who revealed himself in the comments, drops a list for him in the comments here before we can even respond, including Woods, Hunter, Banks, Holton, who we mentioned, Zane Durant. That's what I'm talking about, divers. We love helping you, but when you help yourselves, that's just fun for me to watch. That's all I wanted to say about that.
It's a great situation when the divers can help divers. Like, friends don't let friends ask questions in the chat without helping them out. We appreciate y'all, man. But no, Banks is obviously a great one. Halton is obviously a great one. Landon Robinson from Navy, again, it just feels like a Jacksonville Jaguar, even though he's not. Is that really?
Yeah, that was the dude he was propping up.
Oh, I guess I forgot. I mean, Jamal had a lot of people though. Jamal had such a list.
Of course, I remember the beef. Travis, who are you talking to?
And he's a good mid-round prospect again from Navy. And as soon as the Jaguars drafted Ray Lane out of Navy, my head immediately went to I have to feel like the scouts had Robinson's name written down at that point. So that just gives me the feels of another guy who's obviously organized, who's obviously has the leadership traits and obviously can still do it on the field. Glue guy, just another one of those glue guys who folks might underestimate and can just come in and just get the work done. That's what I think about when I look at someone like a Landon Robinson. But yeah, and to those folks, because again, I'm gonna share this with y'all. My mom always tells me we need to do more talk and teach on these shows. My mom watches also. Hey, mom. So when folks say 0 technique and folks say 1 technique and folks say all these things,
but I guess we're doing this. Okay.
No. I mean, it's the question. I figure like it's why not? 0 technique is basically when a guy lines up right over the center. It's normally those big those big mammoths, 330 pounds.
Nose guards,
nose tackles,
nose
tackles. Yes, those guys right over the center.
Guys, my dad's age would call them nose guards, but yeah, nose tackles.
Your Vita Vea, yes, those types of guys who can be 0 techniques / right over the center, or those 1 techniques right in between the center and the guard, kind of leaning towards the center. Those guys who can just soak up double teams and keep your linebackers clean. And when we talk 3 techniques, we're talking the guys who line up just on the outskirts of the guard, in between the guard and the tackle, or 4-eye is just guys who are just inside of that tackle with the wider techniques. It gives them a little bit better of a running start to get to the quarterback and try to be they're more your pass rushers who don't necessarily have to take on those big mammoths on the inside, so they're not getting double teams more often than not. That's what we're talking about when we're saying that. We're going to probably use this graphic a lot just because again we get those questions and it just feels like it should be discussed. So when we say, hey, we're not talking about that type of defensive tackle when you guys do your mock drafts, that's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the Jaguars don't necessarily need one of those big mammoths unless they're just a game record. Like if they're game record, you draft a guy and you figure it out with Devon Hamilton, like whatever that means. But
for example,
they have Devon Hamilton to help stop the run, who's a good, again, 1 technique, 0 technique guy who can take on those double teams and kind of, again, plug the inside, stop the run. What they need is a 3 technique, a pass rushing guy who can truly get to the quarterback from that 3 technique or that 4-eye range. That's what we're primarily looking at, and that's pretty much what a Caleb Banks or what a Landon Robinson, what those guys are, if that makes any kind of sense. So that's just wanted to knock that out because that was Social Aki's question. And I don't know
it's listen, and divers helping divers doesn't mean we can't help too. I'm with it. Like I said, we got a few to get through here. There's a couple back to back here. I want to drop from Storm the Desert. Whenever he comes in, it's always a good time. Crazy part is I believe this team can finish worse than 13-4 and still be better regardless of the record. That point he's making was what I meant to say. He just did it way better. So I had to show that off too. Storm with a second comment that I wanted to weigh in here with too as well. There are day 3 interior defensive linemen that show good pass rush upside. Guys like Caleb Proctor, Aaron Graves, etc. Gotta trust Jimmy Stones to find them players before plays, F them picks, all of the above. Yeah, I think that's the take.
If you believe Caleb can make that jump from southeastern Louisiana, then yeah, you go that route. But that's
you can get him day 3. Why not? Shoot, I mean, you could always wait for UDFA, I guess. But if you believe like that, you go get it.
Oh he ain't going that deep. I mean, UDFA because again, he still has the production. It's just whether or not he can make that jump to NFL level.
Let's see.
Chris McLean. That's the other one from Missouri.
Okay.
What about him? Yes, that's another 3 technique option that the Jaguars absolutely can. And he might be one of the last 3 technique guys.
See, now Storm's starting to sound like Jamal St. Cyr. Watch that LSU game.
I don't even know who that was in reference to. Wait. I never gave Ship his flowers also. When we were talking about the Miami Dolphins fire sale, I forgot about that one. I just found this snippet I took. I want to promote his article though. But like, hey, Jaguars on SI. Shout out John Shipley. He pointed out within that Miami Dolphins fire sale that maybe someone like linebacker Jordan Brooks could be a potentially good, a good option for the Jaguars. Also, I didn't even think about him again because he's a really good linebacker. And I wasn't even thinking
in that Miami Dolphins defense, real easy to miss. I don't blame you, Pop.
Right. And it's only like a $10 million cap hit. Like I thought that was an awesome one because again, the Jaguars do love those cap hit, those guys who the last year of their contract guys, basically, who can maybe come in and earn themselves a contract like Jacoby Myers, like Greg Newsome, basically like all the guys, even they sign on the 1-year deals, even in the De'Ami Brown. That didn't work out, but that was the goal. So he would be on the final year of his contract, and that would give him the option of trying to go that Jacoby Myers route and see if he can strike iron while it's hot. And then maybe the Jaguars can turn that bad boy around if he doesn't get re-signed and still get a comp pick out of it because, they love that process too.
Got to get him in the chamber. Yeah. Social Alki makes a point we should have and completely forgot. Based on playing 11 games away from Everbank, an 8 to 9 win, a 9 to 10 win season may be an overachievement. I'm not going to say 10 you might want to call an overachievement, but it's an extra challenge over and above. I can't front on that. That's a good point.
I can't imagine what that feels like, bro, to play that many games. Because again, you're talking to 2 London games away from Everbank. And it's already a season where they were going to only play, the 8 games at home. So now you're basically only playing 6 real home games at Everbank in 2026. Because
the construction's at least going to start. It's going to be partially underway, correct?
Oh, it's already partially underway, but they were already going to be limited. But it's because of the second home game being moved to London, which, in my opinion, and I said this to Gus Lowe, going for site manager over Big Cat Country, I'm like, dude, this is actually like a teaser or a good test for the Jaguars as they continue dipping their toes in this hot end of the pool. Hot end, goodness, the deep end of the pool. Because
it could be an unevenly heated pool. That's a thing, maybe.
I don't know how. That's a bootleg pool, but I got you. But at the end of
shade on one side, sun on the other. The sunny side's going to be warmer. I know exactly what you're going for.
Exactly, on the outside. I got you. No, but it's that they were going to have to play away from Jacksonville in the 2027 season already. So now you actually have a situation where you're not fully going to cold turkey from playing all your games at home to none of your games at home. Now you're just going from playing 9 games at home to 6 games at home to no games at home. At least you can have that where they'll have their systems in play where they should absolutely feel comfortable with it, and it shouldn't be where any shock earlier in the season.
You can build the protocols.
That's
it. You're going. Right.
That's it. So if you have a young roster, as the Jaguars kind of do, then you should have a general plan. These guys should generally be used to it. From that perspective, it shouldn't be a shock
to speak of. No, I agree with that too. But I think it's still a worthwhile point out there too. A couple good comments from Preston here. Let me start with this one.
Busy.
I'm going to do them back to back because this one's pretty quick. We've touched on this. I'd like to see a corner taken at some point. A wide receiver group can operate without Hunter. Now do that at quarterback. You can't. That's exactly why he's going to play more corner, right? So limiting his versatility hemmed him to a position. Yeah, and you've seen this panel agree outright that they should get a corner at some point because Jamal St. Cyr and Travis D. Holmes did that just about 2 weeks ago. So I don't think there's any argument there.
Folks, I think folks are just too confident. I think folks are too confident in the cornerback room while you have two guys coming off surgery. I can just stop there. We don't even have to have the conversation about skill. I'm just saying medicals always scare me. And I'm a guy who, I played my last year of football hobbled, like getting shot up in the knees, taking all the medicine just to be able to finish the game because of my messed up ankle and my messed up knee. And I'm saying that to say you got two guys, Travis Hunter and Jordan Lewis, both coming off surgery this offseason, and you only have two outside corners realistically on the roster in both Travis Hunter and Monteric Brown. Any injury happens with either of those guys, or just Travis Hunter just needs more time, you're screwed already to start the season. Yeah, you got you damn well better draft an outside cornerback somewhere in this draft. That feels obvious.
And I think that's granted in far more subtle fashion, Travis. And by the way, I don't mind you pounding the table. I think it's important that you accent that this position may be important than you think. It's real easy to overlook corner for goofballs like me that think you're a dime a dozen. Not you, Travis. I mean, just corners in general. You're my personal champion. You ain't a dime a dozen. I'd like to see WR group wide receiver group can operate without Hunter. You can't at corner, and I think that's the biggest takeaway. Everything else you say is absolutely important, but those fantasy owners out there who are pounding the table, the reason why you're just out of luck is because they're that rough at corner right now. And unless a lot of dudes that were hurt, to your point, pan out something fierce like Cole Van Lannon good. Well, good luck. I don't know. Scout and find your prospects, says Preston. Use capital and go get them instead of 5th, 6th round picks. Developmental prospect after developmental prospect taking up the roster. Yeah, Preston, that's exactly what we're getting at.
No. Why are we? I get you, but why are we scared of 5th round picks and 7th round picks and 6th round picks? Why are we scared of development? I don't get that.
I think what he's saying is we got to be careful to overdo it. Is his thought? And granted, he's saying there's extremes to everything, right? There's Trent Bulky and go chase free agents, and then there's over stocking picks. And I'm not accusing this front office of doing that yet. But I think where we got to be careful, and I'm going to use the term I used on Saturday in my one-off. See, I'm not smart enough to quote my own tweets like you do, Travis, but I do go to my own show content. But the word I used was compensation, right? It's currency to them. It's not necessarily a player. It's saving money. Think of these comp picks as a savings account. And suddenly your defensive tackles, somebody done stole them, and you need that money that you save for
you were in dire straits. You were broke. You were going through something. The refrigerator broke, the alternator broke, and the AC unit broke in your house. All that's between your car and your house. All with
tackles. Refrigerator's perfect, Travis.
Now I'm just saying this is in like a 3-week period in the 2025 season. The Jaguars car alternator went out, the AC unit in the house went out. The fridge went out all within 3 weeks, and they needed to trade for Tim Patrick. They needed to trade for Jacoby Myers, and they used those mid-round picks to do that. So no, you're not wrong. That's actually a very good metaphor as far as just using it as a savings account in case something goes wrong, because S absolutely went wrong in 2025 in the middle of that season, and they found a way to figure it out because they saved up Good job, Jimmy Stones and Liam Cohen on that Dave Ramsey savings program. Great job, y'all.
Yeah, it's like, we don't talk about Jalen Ramsey no more. It's Dave Ramsey that saves the Jags.
Hey man, if you know, you know. Financial freedom is good. But nah. So Jimmy Stones is on top of it. This is his time to shine, and he's been doing this for a little bit of time. He's good in the draft, like Steve what is it? Palazzo, whatever, PFF. Based on production value added, the best drafting team since 2021, which is non-quarterbacks only. Number 1 in the league is the Rams. I just point that out because 2021, James Gladstone, obviously the director of scouting and strategy over for LA, obviously with the Jaguars. Now you have to believe over the next few years, maybe the next 3 or 4 years, the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to move up on that list. But I'm very excited to see that because this is James Gladstone's time to shine.
Yes.
Can he add those developmental guys? Because again, you guys are shying away from that, saying that all should be traded. No, maybe some of them should be. I'm saying, no, they should be drafting these guys and they should be developing them and getting this roster younger. If they're not the top guys in their position, I mean, top 10 at your position, whether that's linebacker, looking at you, Fourier, whether that's defensive end, looking at you, Josh Allen, whether that's cornerback, looking at you, Jordan Lewis, whether that's safety, looking at you, Eric Murray. That's no shade to those guys. That's just saying if you're not top of the free agent list or top of the NFL at your position, then I think they need to be going cheap and getting those guys off the roster to refresh this roster, because you want your guys both in here, but you also want to make sure you can kind of clean this cap, because right now they're up against it and they need more options, if that makes sense.
And I'll put it this way. The reason why Jimmy Stone's continuing to do good, and I'm going way in the future, regardless of what may happen between now and we'll say the next 5 years, where Trevor Lawrence is in year 9 and year 10. If I'm a member of the Duval Dive, regardless of it, if he missed the playoffs the next 4 years in close fashion, I'm going to feel more comfortable than I ever would with Jimmy Stones when we get to that, because once Trevor's in year 10 and you need to start looking for that heir apparent and be in that space where you need that next quarterback and trying to do it without being the top overall pick, you don't want to be like the Steelers or any of these other teams that kept the quarterback in the wings too long. You want somebody who's going to be brave enough to have the competition when it's time. Now, granted, we're years away for that from Trevor. I'm not saying it's tomorrow, but I think he's going to be the right GM to deal with that problem better than a lot of other franchises, even great historical franchises like the Steelers, have had at some point.
Okay. I mean, hopefully they do it better, closer to how the Packers did it than like how the Steelers did it. Like you'll have the hair apparent.
They got lucky. Let's be clear.
If you say so, because they got lucky 3 times in a row. That don't sound lucky to me.
You don't do that. No. See, that's the thing. Brett Favre, that was lucky in itself. Aaron Rodgers, a lot of other people had to be stupid first. Let's be clear.
All right.
Man, listen, I was throwing things angry when they drafted Alex Smith as a Niners fan. I did not want that. Now, granted, eventually he turned it around once he had a consistent offensive coaching staff, but everybody else around him had to be good first. I'm not saying it's Brock Purdy, but it's darn close. I said what I said.
You want to call it lucky? You can call it lucky all you want to. All I know is I'll take it. Whatever that luck looks like, I need that kind of luck in Duval all day.
Hey, and you know what? Based on your "this team makes me drink" shirt, karma dictates you deserve it, Travis D. Holmes. That's what I'm saying.
I just need them to have that kind of fortune, that kind of luck. I don't care how it happened, because I expect the Jacksonville Jaguars to be drafting towards the end of the drafts, not towards the front of them for most of the drafts moving forward. So yeah, they're going to need some luck with other teams missing or passing over on prospects. Then maybe the Jaguars then can take their own risk. They can take their own stabs at a player who maybe imperfect, if that makes sense, but still finding a way to find that ceiling, like BTJ. BTJ was not a perfect prospect when they drafted him, which is why he was drafted where he was, not at the top of the draft.
Right.
But he ended up working out. Well, we'll see how 2026 goes, but it seems that he's working out, if that makes sense.
The reason why I hate the Packers as an example is they let Favre dictate tempo.
Oh,
Okay.
That's a whole different thing. Yeah, that
ain't no way that Jimmy Stone's going to do that. Ain't no way Tony Baselli going to let that happen either. So I'm confident there. I'm more thinking, you want to go with a franchise who I think did it the best? I think it was the Baltimore Ravens, right? Recovering from Joe Flacco standing on business, having the postseason of his life, earning a contract he didn't deserve, which I know how I said that. I did that intentionally.
Okay.
And then the way they brought in Lamar Demetrius Jackson late in the first round and then phased into him, even though he's a completely different style of quarterback. I don't care what the Baltimore Ravens were telling you at the time. That, I think, is a closer model to how it should be done. Now,
that's how the Jaguars should have done. They had the opportunity to phase from Blake Bortles right into Lamar Jackson, and they chose Taven Bryant. Yes.
Oh, here he goes. Right. Shouldn't have extended. We know. Do you need a hug champion? I've got you.
Nah, man, that's gonna always be. I mean, we're good. We're good. Jaguars in good times right now. I'm not going back into these old abusive times. That's fine. We're on to the new.
Social Alki mentions Belichick with the Patriots drafted quarterbacks every year, and he was able to use them as currency as well. Damn, that's an even better example. If he pulls that off, Social, of course I'm going to enjoy watching it. That's a lot to ask for.
But he was also, but the Patriots were always in a good position, as the Jaguars are starting to be right now. And I'm not trying to say the Jaguars are the Patriots. No, man, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Jaguars are doing just enough to fill the obvious holes where they can go into the draft and actually draft best player available, true best player available. And that's where this thing gets real interesting, is when you can go into a draft with the real freedom, the true freedom to say, I know we have 3 great safeties, but this guy is a game changer. I want that guy as my first pick. And I know many people in Jacksonville right now today would lose their dang mind if the Jaguars' first pick in the second round of the 2026 NFL draft was fill in the blank safety, because they'll be like, wait, what? We have Antonio Johnson, we have Caleb Bransall, we have Eric Murray, and I'll just be like, they must believe in the guy, I guess. Or if it's a receiver, oh boy, if it is a receiver,
I have to admit, I'll even have questions. Like,
right, but if it's a guy that they really believe in, because they can truly go best player available, because again, that's what the Patriots often did. If they had the freedom to truly say, we have a roster where there's no absolute like dire deficiencies, and we can get the middle round guys. We can pick up our linebacker in round 3-4. We can pick up our running back in round 3-4 and feel okay. But this guy we can't pass on because we just believe he's truly the best guy on this, at this position in the draft. That's freedom right there. And the Jaguars in year 2 absolutely have to have it.
And Tapa mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo as an example with Belichick. I'm going to flex a little bit here just because I think it's way worth mentioning it. It's not just Jimmy Grops. It's Hoyer. It's Matt Castle. It's Jacoby Brissett. These are 4 or 5 quarterbacks that were starting in other places in the NFL. And I'm not sure I named them all yet. And they, I'm going to say this. They all better than the guy they had starting in the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah, and the Jaguars don't get Fred Taylor if they don't trade away Rob Johnson. Yep. Like, that's another piece of it. Like, if you don't have these other quarterbacks, you generally can't. It's the same thing with the draft picks. If you don't have the currency, you can't get the guy. Like, you got Fred Taylor simply because you had Rob Johnson. You use those quarterbacks as currency later, and you just hold them on the roster because quarterbacks, everybody love a quarterback. Everybody love a quarterback.
Reminds me Ryan Mallett. I don't know that he started anywhere, but that's another guy that got some time. You're not wrong, kid. He definitely was involved in some trades that got him some capital for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of all of it, like, if you don't get that, you absolutely should. I used to say that all the time when the Jaguars were never drafting quarterbacks, because they had never drafted a quarterback from, I forget what year Gardner Minshew was drafted, but that was the last year that they drafted a quarterback. And I said that in my Big Cat Country article earlier this offseason, was like, hey, when is this going to be time for the Jaguars to draft that backup quarterback that you really believe in? And I don't mean that as shade.
No. Actually, you know what? Don't even throw it at shade like that, because here's what you're saying is perfect. The best symbol, Travis, of long-term for success for Jimmy Stones, for Liam Cohen, for Tony Baselli, if they get there, is to be the front office. that drafts the quarterback like that.
Finally does. And again, I'm not throwing Nick Mullins under the bus. He's an adequate NFL veteran backup quarterback. It's just
this
at
is
the end of
something
the
that
day,
shouldn't happen for another 3 or 4 years at least. Even anyway, we're talking long term. If we're
it's roster
talking about
refresh.
that, if we're talking about that here on the Duval Dive with this group, first of all, mad success to us. Thank you very much. And second, it would truly mark a not just a front office turnaround, a franchise, nay, an organizational turnaround.
There you go. There you go. No. There you go. Because again, you got Nick Mullins on the last year of his deal. You have potential to have 4 years of a backup quarterback to grow into your offense when you don't have to use free agent dollars. We keep talking about this with everybody else. Mm-hmm. Why can't we talk about it with the backup quarterback? I think it's reasonable. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm just being real. Like, we just literally just not got rid of, but allowed Devin Lloyd to not re-sign in Jacksonville despite his great play in 2025.
We allowed
the same thing.
That's what you're saying. Go get your bag, young man.
Yeah, did the same thing with Travis Etienne. We ain't talking about like ridiculous money with Nick Mullins, but at the end of the day, if you are trying to be young and you want to give a guy years to grow into your offense, well, that's kind of another place to look. Nick Mullins, backup quarterback, rookie draft pick, currency. If you make him look great in your offense, what is that going to equal later? Because as a quarterback, is that going to be a second-round draft pick later in 2 years from now? Because you just had him show out in the preseason or show out when Trevor Lawrence had a crazy night beforehand and missed the game for some weird reason when we still won and everybody's happy. Like, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, I ain't want to say something like injury. So I couldn't go there. But you know what I'm saying? Like, so overall, I think this is an interesting place to start the conversation as far as maybe continuing to dip into that Bill Belichick kind of philosophy, always draft the quarterback. Just like you should always draft the offensive lineman.
Ooh, well, now you're really trying to flatter me. It's a shame I don't live in your district. I'd vote for you, Travis. Anyways, you guys, again, this is becoming a regular thing that the Duval Divers are flooding the comments, and I'm struggling to keep up here. And we're past that 50-minute mark. We gotta leave something for later this week. So with that in mind, Duval Divers, thank you for the love and the support in the show. Wait, he wants what do you got? What do you got?
I want to get a few of these comments, if you don't mind, just because I haven't talked football in a week. I've been off for a minute.
You didn't give me the universal sign.
I'm there.
I smoke
I'm there. I'm there. I would love. I just.
If you wanted to at least go ahead, buddy.
Well, no. We never even talked about BTJ. So I'll just let's pull up. Yeah, let's talk about
this is what the little pullback behind the curtain. I put these in the folder during the week thinking maybe we'll bring it up. I'm like, it's late. Travis like, no, I won't it because I got to talk BTJ straight up and you didn't. I'm not even mad at you, kid. Go ahead, please. Pull up the
man. We talked about friend of the pod, Daniel Griffin. He had a great breakdown on Action Sports Jax. If you don't read his materials, man, stop part-time and go and check our boy out. Like he's doing incredible work. But he also on his socials on Twitter, he put out like a bunch of different threads just talking about Brian Thomas Jr., kind of how everything looked in 2024 2025 versus the 2020. I said it right. No, 2024 versus the 2025 season, and kind of how the struggles that he had in the middle of the field didn't seem to all be related just to the kind of the routes that were being run. It was a mixture of things, and it actually may have even lent itself to the theory that he was injured during the early portions of the season. It's a nuanced conversation. I'm not going to give away the main point because that man did some great work, and I think y'all truly should go and read it. Absolutely. But yeah, he was talking about the fact that the yards after catch per reception in 2024 was 6.8 yards, and he lost 3.1 yards in 2025, going down to 3.7. A lot of that seemed to be related to the fact that he just didn't run a lot of screens. Let's start there. The Jaguars were, in the cellar earlier in the season with Travis Hunter running a boatload of screens, and even the few screens that Brian Thomas Jr. did run, they just weren't successful running them. They couldn't block them. They couldn't throw them for various reasons. Trevor Lawrence was having a lot of balls batted at the line of scrimmage. It was just not a good operation early on.
Which, by the way, we were expecting Liam Cohen to scream the bejesus out of defense, and that went out of defenses, I should say, and that went out the window. But go ahead, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of those different things. So then you look at his route distribution, because again, we had Dan on a few weeks ago, maybe even a month ago at this point. I'm not even sure how long
Not
it's been
quite, but
now.
it's close.
Yeah, we talked about a lot of the Brian Thomas Jr. Situation going on, and we've all had our theories, and I think that's probably where this article came from. Honestly, it's just like how or why it happened in the way that it happened. So a lot of the route distribution seemed to be the same for Brian Thomas Jr., other than he just wasn't as successful running slants. But again, most of his success in 2024 came from Mac Jones, not Trevor Lawrence,
From
and a lot. And his the amount of screens that he was running just kind of went through the basement. Like it went to nearly 0%.
Where's
in
the bar,
2025. So then that impacts his yak. Again, a guy who's that dang fast, runs nearly a 4.340 and can't get off to the races. So it's almost all isolation routes, all go balls, all sideline things. And someone like Chris Godwin, someone like Mike Evans, these guys have succeeded running those kinds of offenses. But that's not necessarily what Liam Cohen is generally. That's more of a Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. That's kind of what they do. It's just slightly different, if that makes sense. So I just thought it was a fascinating read. I thought, folks, you should go and take a look at Dan's article that's out there. Again, Action Sports Jax. And I thought it kind of just gave us a little bit more of a positive maybe takeaway that maybe Brian Thomas Jr. wrist injury could have held some weight, but also it could have just simply been they had him in a different position than what he's used to doing because he did those same. He didn't have it on film in college.
Yeah, I don't think it's any one thing. I think it's a combination of that, of the wrist. I think there's an early season element of that, and at least in small part of that big hit he took in the first preseason game that may have started a domino in his head with him being a little freaked out, perhaps. I don't think it's any one thing, but what I do know, and it's another stat that I brought up on the previous Duval Dive, was that the drops per target went down in the last half of the season. And I think that's the key thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But that's fair. But again, that was the depth of his target also went up significantly towards the end of the season. So he was getting longer throws, longer attempts down the field. So that helps you have longer time to have your eyes on the ball. We still got to get into how the Jaguars stack up within the AFC South and all the changes that everybody else has been made. And I know we got time. But that's not going to be tonight.
That's right.
But it ain't going to be tonight.
The Obi-Wan Kenobi in the comments. Hello there.
I'm sorry.
No. Travis, I got this. Don't you dare apologize that. First of all, Obi-Wan Kenobi, hello there. The outline of the hat looks similar to the Raider shield at first glance. Of course it does, Obi-Wan. What better way do you think a franchise for getting you, Jakobi Meyers? I said what I said.
I need them folks not to think I'm over here playing both sides of the field. No.
Hey,
no Raiders. This is Duval.
That's no different than me sending a holiday card to the Washington Commanders for providing Trent Williams to the 49ers all those years ago. Okay, it's the same thing. Damn it.
Well, yeah. So we do appreciate their sacrifice and providing Jakobi Meyers to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, I'm just curious to who's going to be that next trade target that none of us are thinking about. Because, again, we all thought about Jakobi Meyers being a great fit for this Liam Cohen offense in the middle of the season. I think we all do all 22 Jaguars on SI, BigCatCountry.com, etc. wrote about Jakobi Meyers being a great fit for the Jaguars around the trade deadline and the bye week for the Jaguars. And then it happened. I'm just slowly kind of inching my way forward, kind of trying to start getting into those thought processes of who's going to be the guy that we're not even thinking about right now. Who's going to be that guy next year that it's going to be like, dang, that's the one that's going to break this thing open for the Jaguars. And I don't know. I think it's a great question to start chewing on, but yeah.
I think we should have a conversation of who could break out here maybe as soon as this Friday. I don't know. We can throw that out there. Maybe. So listen, champion, we're close to an hour. Tell them where you can be found.
Yes, sir. You already know. You can find my writing covering the Jaguars, bigcatcountry.com. Now that I'm not, I'm done part-time in this thing and being on vacation like a family man. So yeah, we can do that. Travis D. Holmes on all the socials. The Duval Dive on X, on TikTok, everywhere. Just continue talking to us, man. Continue talking in this chat. If you're listening to the sound of my voice, like the stream. Please like the stream. It costs you nothing but the click of your dexterity in your index finger, but it helps us out tremendously. And again, this thing continues growing because this algorithm continues pushing it, because you guys continue liking, subscribing, commenting, becoming members, and all those things. Again, that's great. That's awesome. If you haven't clicked that subscribe button, please click it. And again, thank you for joining us on this beautiful Wednesday night. We normally air on 7:30 at night. It's 9 o'clock. Off season schedule's a little wonky. I feel you. But yeah, Travis D. Holmes on all the socials, the Duval Dive on YouTube, or if you're listening on the podcast side, please rate and review us. And please, Mr. Nash, let him know where you can be found, brother.
I put that comment out there because, Travis, I've captured that comment. I'm teasing the hell out of our upcoming episode there because Tapa said something that I wasn't ready for. We'll talk about it then. Of course, I am Kyle Nash in the game. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. You just caught it. Twitter, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky at the SOTG. Find me on Facebook as a student of the game. Check out my stuff, my writings with UCF Night Zone, and my guest contribution to Locked On UCF. March Madness relevant for the first time since, 2019. It's going to be a fun time watching Johnny Dawkins and the 10th seed UCF Knights do battle with the UCLA Bruins in Philadelphia at 7:15. I think it is on Friday night, or 7:25 rather, on Friday night. So I will be busy doing that. If you're into checking that out with the instant reaction after that, please do so. And of course, also my work covering the Orlando Magic. So for you Duval divers who are on fire, we're staying up late for. Thank you, Reyes. So for all you divers doing the fire, for all you Duval devout who are finding us and will find us in the future, for my personal champion, Travis D. Holmes, this is Kyle Nash, student of the game. Until next time, everyone, class dismissed.